The state of Indiana versus Richard Allen in regards to the Delphi murders rested their case on day 12 of the trial. They concluded their case with their witness from prison by the name of Monica Wallace. Monica Waller, a prison psychologist. I will discuss her a little later. Going back when Richard Allen was arrested, the prosecutor, the district attorney, the judge in various state and city police in Delphi, Indiana, they began to interrogate Richard Allen while he was in a Carroll County jail. So what happened was they showed him pictures of Abby and Libby with their throats slit. They saying, you did this. You done this here. See, a lot of people don't understand this is exactly what happened. This is why they didn't want nobody to know Richard Allen was arrested and locked up in the jail. When they couldn't break him, their goal was to break him in jail and get a confession there. They didn't do that because Richard Allen saw the evidence that they had. They did not want him to have a speedy preliminary hearing. So here's what they did. Judge Benjamin Diener, working with the sheriff, they concocted this story. Benjamin Diener said he feared for his life and his wife. He never articulated any threat that anybody made against him. He just said, I fear for my family and I can't preside over this case. Nobody questioned this because it's just something he's saying. Then the sheriff goes on to say, he can't stand this jail. I can't keep him safe here. So here is the sheriff implying that in his so-called nice, quiet, close-knit community, he can't even keep a fellow resident safe in his own jail. But they never articulated any threats against Richard Allen. This was a ploy to get him to a prison under certain circumstances, such as planning his food, spending his food, not giving him enough food, putting him around other prisoners, and then taking him away from his family to where he cannot communicate. He didn't even have an attorney from a period of time down there. This was to overwhelm him. And what was going down up in that prison, people was threatening Richard Allen, family, we're going to do this to your family. You better please get to this and that. And all of a sudden, he started getting pumped up on drugs. And they got what they needed, an alleged confession that he confessed to this prison psychologist, Monica Waller. The warden, he confessed at that time. But this makes no sense that he will confess, but no, throughout this trial, you still have not heard details. I don't know why some of the news outlets is acting like Monica Waller gave details about the murder scene that Richard Allen would know. First of all, let's get to the facts and get away from the bullshit. Richard Allen already knew how they died because when they arrested him, they showed him. This is how they operate. You did this. This is how he knew. But this is lost on all these so-called news media outlet, these so-called professionals out here that claim to have a degree of law enforcement and legal knowledge. This is lost on them. But it's obvious this is what they did. And then when they called him in to question him about the crime, he had the children pictures in front of Richard Allen where he could see. People saying he didn't look at him. He don't have to grab him and look at him because they already showed him these pictures. Now, let me be clear. I'm only advocating that the evidence is not there. Whether he is actually the murderer is a different subject that I will not approach at this time. Now, what I'm saying is, keep in mind, people, what did Monica Waller testify in detail that only Richard Allen would know? Remember, they premised their case that this type of bullet was found at the scene, a unspent round that was ejected out of the gun. But when an Indiana so-called firearms expert was testing it by putting a round in her and rigging it back. She did this 6 times. It did not make the marks that was on the bullet at the scene. So we all know now that the prosecution knew that they didn't have enough. We know now that she fired the gun and said, oh, the round matches it. Well, we all know that that's bullshit, okay? So let's just cut through it. So let's move forward.
You know what I hate more than anything? Terrible Chinese products. Did you know that those little things will shatter if you drop them?
They get him down to prison under these circumstances where they're playing in his food, spitting in his food, not giving him enough food, and not feeding him at times. I done seen it, people. I've been there. I've been to prison, so I know the games that they play. And this is why when they first started saying they can't keep him safe here, I stated, I'm the only one that stated, they need him down there to pump him up on the drugs and get this confession, because they can get you to confess to anything when they start messing with your food, giving you psychotropic drugs. They already done expose you to the pictures and kept hitting you upside the head, saying you did this, giving them sleep deprivation. They're not turning off the light completely. Of course, people. Now, if you just go Google innocent people that pleaded guilty to crimes, to murder crimes, it's a whole slew of them. And they pleaded guilty, but the evidence showed 20, 30, 18 years later, it wasn't him. Before I go any further, let me tell you why they needed the testimony of people saying that he confessed. Why would you send a man to prison under the pretext that you can't protect him in a county jail? Why wouldn't you been able to protect him in a county jail? No one has answered this question. This preconceived notion that it may be a mob is not enough, because now you done violated this man's right to due process. You violated this man's right to challenge the evidence before y'all sent him to this prison. And then when you sent him to the prison, now he has no way to exercise those rights, and that prejudices him. See, if you remove the prison setting, you have no confessions. You have none of that. Every prosecutor that prosecute a case know exactly how much evidence they need to win a case based on the elements. And the prosecution knew that they didn't have enough. So they quickly whisked him off to prison. And think about it. And when they did it, go back, people, Benjamin Diener, the sheriff, never articulated why they feel like they can't protect him in that jail. Because they knew that they needed to get him to prison to get the confession. Because if they did it in that jail, it would have been questionable. It's still questionable, but it's best that it be done down there. That way we can say, oh, these are different people, psychologists and all this here. You take a person who never been locked up and you remove him completely from his family and lock him up under them circumstances, you can get Donald Trump to say he did it. Keep in mind, people, he was up on the constant 24-hour video surveillance. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't under 24-hour video surveillance. Yet he come up dead. The whole reason why they need a conviction in this Richard Allen case, because, hold up, I'm going to stop right there. First of all, Judge Frances Gore is biased, and she done violated this man's right to present evidence. She let them show some confessions in the jail, but not all the confessions. When you do something like that, all these so-called confessions must be reviewed in totality to let the jury decide whether these confessions are bona fide or coming from a deranged man. Just cherry picking stuff based on the totality of his surroundings is not enough. Because if you remove the prison setting, you don't have any confessions. You don't have people saying that Richard Allen confessed to me. Richard, I want y'all to take one thing under advisement. If the detective questioning Richard Allen could not break Richard Allen, why would Why would you think sending him to prison, remove the psychotropic drugs now, they wouldn't have broken? All of a sudden, you got these inmates saying he confessed because they promised these inmates special treatments. Hey, if you say he confessed to you, we can take you off. We do this, we do this. I've been there, people. I know how they operate. This is why I called it like I saw it. They knew they didn't have it, so they had to get him down there to get this confession. Don't nobody eat feces and pretend, okay? Don't nobody do that, okay? Now, this same Monica Waller diagnosed him as having a mental disorder. Now she's saying, well, he could have been faking. So you were changing your testimony to fit the prosecution narrative. So now that the jury done heard these so-called confessions from the warden, from the prison psychologist, and these other inmates who in there for all type of crimes. But we supposed to believe these people. Once again, if we reverse it and remove the prison setting, sending him to prison under them circumstances, they don't have that. He walks. Now, at this point in the game, I said he beat the trial on day 7, and he did. All this other stuff is fabricated. If I was on the jury, I would have to find Richard Allen hands down not guilty. Keep in mind, the unspent bullet has never been traced to having anything to do with these murders. That bullet could have been there, and it was 2 inches underground, about this far on the ground. Okay, 2 inches this far up on the ground. But you claiming if he racketed that through and it fell out, it wouldn't be that far underground, people. So it was never shown that this bullet was actually there at the scene of the crime, or not before, not a day or two before, none of this. Now, when you look at the fact that Judge Franz Gore would not let the defense play the other so-called confessions, because at that time he confessed he shot him, he confessed that he killed other kids or whatnot. So we already know these confessions cannot be trusted. But here is why they need a conviction, because they don't want to be sued, people. And here goes what I believe they are setting Richard Allen up for. I believe this 100%. They know they need a conviction so they can send him to prison, because they want one or two things to happen. They want him to kill himself, or they want some inmates to kill him, and that kills the case. This is what they're driving at, and this is what Judge Franz Gore is helping them drive at. If he allegedly made all these confessions, why would you allow the prosecutor to cherry pick certain ones that fit their case when the other ones are exculpatory that you would have to have turned over to the prosecution to weigh against the other so-called confessions? This is what they do, people, when they don't have a case. They have to play up evidence to get a conviction. Now, the reason why I believe that Richard Allen now will be found guilty is because if the news media can't distinguish what I just brought to y'all attention, they paint the picture like the psychologist gave details that the murderer would know. No, what details? He said he did something with his gun and the bullet. Why he can't say exactly what he did with the gun to get that bullet to come out? That's what none of that. He already knows it's a bullet there. But if he actually did this, why would he say I did something with the gun? And I guess that's where the bullet, that's nothing specific. We all know it was a bullet there. The prosecutor theory is that he racketed one through there like this and it came out. That's their theory. So Richard Allen already know that's their theory. So there is nothing that Monica Waller or nobody said that can give us detail. Why is it that if Richard Allen confessed to these murders, why can't he tell us how he controlled them? Why haven't he went into detail in his medicine how he controlled them? There is no video record, something of this magnitude that you would want the public to inspire trust. There is no video recordings. You would think if Richard Allen was confessing, Monica Waller would have said, hey, can I record you then since you're going to confess? And, I'm going to be able to testify to this anyway. Can I record this? Because Richard Allen never confessed. He never confessed in his right mind. So now, when she testified, which most of these jurors would believe because they saying, oh, I'm a professional, this is what he told me. This is why I tell people, don't tell your lawyer everything. Don't trust your lawyer. And you damn sure don't trust no doctor. See, we keep allowing people to tell us the law, like you get a lawyer, they say, oh, tell me everything. No, you don't do nothing like that. That lawyer ain't your friend. It's all business. You tell he lawyer something, they go back and tell their colleagues, yeah, he did it. He's an evil. He did it. I'm going to help y'all get him. See, they'll help these people get you. See, you got to understand this here. And this is what they did with Richard Allen. They knew that they need to get a confession. I called that in my first video. I'm not going to call it the first, but as the case went on, when they first said they're going to send him to the prison, that's when I made the video and say they need a confession. They want to send him down there and get a confession. Nobody else saw it coming, but I saw it coming, people. I deal with this all day and every day, and I've been dealing with it for the past 30 years. These people know the law, and they know the elements, what they have to prove. And so if you don't know the law, you won't know that they are orchestrating certain things. And they orchestrated Richard Allen's demise by this fabricated evidence. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. And welcome back to Speak Being Holy, and y'all have a nice day.
How many players are on the field?
Big shout out to everyone watching. It's Jrod, and we are here. Finally, we are live. We are here. We are legend of the true crime niche. Big shout out to Speak Being Holding. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I gotta say congratulations on the great job and amazing conversation that you've been having in your channel about the Delphi case. I gotta say, very short. I would like to actually ask you, um, do you remember around what time you started picking up the Delphi case?
Honestly, I don't. It was, I go to YouTube, I look. If it's something interesting, I feel like I want to give my take on, I will. It's a lot of things I like to speak on, but it just don't move me. But I can't really remember when I started looking at it.
I gotta say, what it caught your attention on the Delphi case? What was that
Well, it was
the impression? You know what I mean? What it caught your attention to investigate the case?
well, I was wondering why would a grown man? Well, I'm not gonna say a grown man, but we at the point we didn't know who the perpetrator was. I was interested because you got these two little girls, and I wanted to know why would somebody cut their throats? Why would somebody just kill them and leave them like that? What was this the objective? Was they trying to kidnap them? Or it? I just felt that uh, I found it strange that they would do this in broad daylight, and I felt that whoever did it wanted to transport them somewhere else, but something something became complicated to where that didn't happen. And I wanted to see, they was talking about this small little town where everybody know one another, and I just wanted to see who 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 would they pick or who would they come up with as far as the perpetrator. And it was kind of they come up with Richard Allen, and the fact that I was looking at the so-called bridge guy, the photo of him, and trying to gauge Richard Allen demeanor just based on what I saw. So I was trying to put it together as who could have done this in here, and if anybody that know this person, know these clothes, and they got this reward, that surely someone would speak up, but nobody ever did.
My question to you though, because it's very impressive within the detail that you understood the case at very early stage of it. But before we get to Richard Allen, my question to you was, do you have did you have information far as the manner of death? Can you without getting too graphic, can you tell the public what you know far as the manner of death?
Well, and I'm based on what they saying, but even though what they telling us, I have to theorize something. I can't say it's a fact, but one thing is for certain is, but I'm gonna say this here. If we really think about it, it would have been simpler for him just to drown the girls in the lake, right? That would have been a simple thing, just drown them. So I'm reasoning that the reason why he didn't drown them in the lake is because they passed it, and
It's more like a river type of
yeah,
stream.
but it's a river stream, but it was deep enough to drown them.
Right, right, right.
You
I get you.
hold them down by their necks, you can drown them. Think about this. So the person he didn't drown them, and so when they came across the river, at this point, I do believe, and Rich, let's get one thing. I'm not gonna say, well, I'm gonna let you answer the question, but at this point, those girls were sexually assaulted. Anybody will agree that if you make a child take off their clothes, that's a sexual assault. Okay.
I
Now,
before we go a little too far with that, never mind my interruption. But was there any forensic or any type of news information, anything reliable that we could say that um any type of sexual misbehavior occurred?
as far as they say no, and what you have to understand about forensic, uh, just because they didn't find anything, just like they didn't, just like they didn't find no other evidence that actually Richard Allen is connected, doesn't mean that it did not happen. It didn't occur because a lot of sexual assaults you won't leave anything,
But
and
at least if he's not out there, I would like to keep it away from the conversation for the time being, until like we found father notice. At least that theory, just because these young ladies,
well,
minors and stuff like that, for the conversational purposes, I would like to keep that,
well,
in the
with
back
that,
pocket type of thing. You know what I'm
well,
saying?
well, that's cool too. But what you have to understand is this here too. When you're looking at crimes, most of the time the prosecutor will withhold evidence, won't reveal it. And so if we looking at crimes is to accept everything that the prosecution and the investigators for the prosecution bring to the table as the truth, we're gonna always miss it because time and time again, people have been convicted where the prosecutor withheld evidence, did not reveal exculpatory evidence, and a lot of times these crimes are solved not through the police, but through what is uncovered by news media or people that take an interest. And so if we are to not if we just look at what they say and happen, and we're gonna always not really arrive at the truth because they will withhold information for the sake of that. Even though they was minors, when you're approaching and trying to solve something, trying to understand something, you can never let that be a deciding factor for not exploring that.
No, I totally understand that. Big shout out to Amy Conway in the chat. Thank you for being here, very so much appreciated. Um, No, no, I totally understand that, and I'm with you. I'm with you with that. It's just that I wouldn't
Yeah,
like to right
I'm just
now, for the
clarifying.
time being, talk about that particularly, just because again, it was not part of the case, perhaps. But I would like to move on and go way before Richard Allen. I would like, because again, you're an expert on the Delphi case murderers. You've been taking very in detail in this case, so I definitely would like you to share with the community, and also make sure that everyone subscribe to Speakman Holding. His channel is pinned on the top of the chat. Please make sure everyone goes and subscribe to Speakman Holding, please, and thank you very so much. I appreciate it. And while you're there, please make sure you click like, subscribe, and share the content. Big shout out to Amy Conway, thank you for being here. But again, Mr. Speakman Holding, the legend of true crime. What about if we explore real quick before Richard Allen? Um, did we knew about any type of other suspect? Like, what do you know about the very beginnings conversations way before Richard Allen?
They was looking at Ronald Logan. They
Can
were,
you elaborate a little bit?
yes, when they first started the whole investigation, you got to realize they were found on Ron Logan's property. Ron Logan had left and he had lied, got somebody to lie. He had got an alibi to lie, and it didn't add up. I can't remember the FBI person name, but the FBI was strongly, one of the FBI agents was strongly implying that Richard Allen was not Ronald Logan was the killer, and his voice was not inconsistent. And this is why that particular FBI agent, I think it was a female, I just can't remember her name. This is why she put in for a warrant to search Ronald Logan's home, but one of the Delphi police did Richard Allen's. They were split. They were split, but before we even got there, they was
I'm
looking.
sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you explain for those that don't know who's Logan is?
Oh,
Can you articulate what was the reason why this name was put in the front line, and what what's the conversation all about this guy?
okay. They was basically saying because he was found on his property, and the
Oh,
FBI
so that means that this happened close to his property or in his property.
actually only
Because what I heard, it was like it was like few yards away from his property line.
no, it's
Like
his,
his property was like the closest to the crime scene.
no, that's his property.
So the area that it goes to the shore of the river after the cemetery. Because you remember, I'm thinking that this area is part of the cemetery property.
No, this is his property. This,
So this is his property. So that means that that fence line by the where the cemetery ends, everything else besides that, that's his.
I didn't see. I wouldn't for um
Because for what I
where.
see on the schematic, it was like the crime scene was right by his uh property line.
Well, no, it
It
was
was
on.
not like inside
No,
of
it
his
was on.
property. It was
It was
like really close by.
no, it was on his property. That's how.
So
That's
it
why.
was in his property.
Yes, it was on his property,
Okay,
and he was giving.
continue.
He was giving tours on the property, and it also said it happened only like a few yards from his. I'm not gonna say a few, like I want to say probably like 200 feet or something like that, 300 feet, 40, 50, I want to say about 20 some yards, 30 yards from his actual home. That's what they were saying. Okay, so you had an FBI agent was leaning strongly toward Ronald Logan, but for some reason, with everything in place, the kids found on his land, he lied about not being there when he come home. Everything warrant that he should have been arrested and charged, but for some reason that didn't happen, and this is the reason why. Uh, what is the guy Doug? Doug had a problem with the FBI targeting Ronald Logan, so he sent them on their way. He told the FBI, we no longer need y'all services because they was basically trying to steer the investigation from a different to Ronald Logan rather than anybody else.
I mean,
So
I heard that they raided his property and found a lot of weaponry.
they didn't raid it. They got a search warrant. That's why
Right,
I said they got a search warrant.
right.
He had a lot of guns and he had a lot of knives.
Which obviously he will have weapons that will fit the ammunition.
Yes. And that's the crazy part because you never heard what became of. We already know he had a whole bunch of guns. They didn't test all his guns. It was something going on with Ronald Logan to where they did not want to charge this man and arrest him.
Was
And
this guy was like a known guy? Like, does this guy or his family are known or well known? Like, are like the ones and within the county, like, that certain type of families, they are the ones that has a lot of connections, a lot of pull in politics, religion and whatnot. Let's say Odinism, if that was the case. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I can't say for sure as to. Well, I do know he was well known in the community. He had significant property. His finances was a okay. So they knew that targeting him, that they would not be able to just not hold him in jail and not give him a bond. I still haven't figured it out because a lot of people, even like I said, it's a reason why they did not arrest him. And I do believe it's because his finances, but it was something that it appeared that Doug Carter and them did not want to arrest and charge him. But everything was in place where he should have been charged for it, for those murders.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's right now in prison for sexual misbehavior. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong.
He's dead.
Oh, he did. That guy Logan died.
Yes, he's dead.
Wow. Cause I heard something. I think I heard something that he was locked up or something. I don't
Well,
know
it
where I heard
initially,
that.
what you heard was correct, but this is what you heard. You heard that due to his probation, a parole violation of him driving and then leaving, going home, they eventually he took a plea and did some jail time, and they did to remain at home, and he eventually died. I want to say about a year. I want to say a couple of years later, probably he died, but he
Okay,
he
got you,
definitely,
got you,
that's what it was.
got you. Okay. So if let's say if that guy was the personal participant, because again, Emmy Conway right there in the comments, she said that one female and one male DNA, they never did a profile. How come it's amazed me. So Amy Conway shared with the community that at the crime scene, it was a male and a female profile, which, if, for me, if you ask me, it will make sense if it was multiple assailants. If you ask me, in my personal opinion, one person could have not done this by himself. It just, in the same way in the case that we're working on in Idaho, that we're not going to talk about it today. Um, but it seems like it's very complicated to get to an understanding that how one person not just control it, but also made it look like, in a way, was so why the reason the whole Odinism sacrifice and whatnot. Because again, if that was the case, it was multiple people there. Because I don't see one person doing all that either. To, for example, commit the crime somewhere else. Let's say take the girls to his property. And this is another thing that I want to mention. When they play the audio, when he says like down the hill, guys, he's not saying down the hill, girls. I don't know why people try to act like, when the boy said down the hill, guys, what he make them think that. I know, I understand that that's a recording that is coming from one of the victims, and I understand that, but that really don't mean nothing. Because the recording, if it was around the time, if the technology, the forensics, put that particular recording around the time, you know what I'm saying, that the recording has a tag, that recording was around the time the girls was missing or whatnot, or around the time they believe that everything started, like the abduction started. um that sounds like a friendly, like, hey, down the hill, guys. And again, he's saying guys, not saying girls. So if he's saying guys, that means that that person, whoever said that, was with other guys with him. Do you understand that? Is no way that I will understand that someone with a proper English vocabulary, which it seems is a a white male, the one that is saying this. Um, I don't get even in the culture of it of him saying down the hill guys without other guys with, you know what I'm saying? It has to be other guys with him for him to say that. And again, we don't hear no girl voices or whatnot, nothing on the distress. So I you see that particular video right there could be taken in many ways. What's your take on that?
Well, when he said guys down the hill, he could have been talking to people that was with him in on it. If it, let's just say, if we are to assume that it was more than one perpetrator, he could
Right.
have been saying to his, it could have been females, it could have been dudes. But when he said guys down the hill, we know, if you ask me, I don't think that the person would have said this to two young girls. They would have been talking to adults or somebody accompanying him or her as him as the perpetrator. I don't construe that as the bridge guy talking to the girls. He's directing it to somebody that's with him, helping him to go down this particular hill with the,
I totally agree with you on that, and I appreciate you. I appreciate your take on that. And also, far as to answer the question to Amy Conway, I mean, it was not a question; it was more her sharing information about the case. Did you ever heard about a female male DNA at the location?
I heard that they found DNA in her samples at the location. I can't recall if it was male or female, and that's one of the things that's what I'm saying when you're dealing with law enforcement in these forensics. They're not gonna, a lot of times, we know, just like in other cases in the Kohberger, they'll say we found these profiles but we didn't work them up. So why would you go to a crime scene and omit working up all the so-called forensic data that's there and not some? How could you make a decision, say, hey, we're going to test this and not test this? And this is where I say, when they start, this is how a lot of things get mishandled, because they didn't work up some type of evidence, and there's no logical reason why they did.
You see, and that goes back to training. That goes back for, to do process proper protocols. Like if you ask me, like I totally agree with you on that take, and also I wanna add to that that it really takes it is up to the whoever is the person investigating at that moment. I think that not just the pristine on how many years they been on the force or how many years they been as a in investigators and stuff like that, detective and whatnot. I believe that also it takes the motivation that that person had at that moment to actually resolve a case, because it's not just you see, it's not just, you see, not everyone take it as a call of duty. Not everybody take it as like, listen, I'm doing this to do the right thing, and it's not all about the check. You feel me? You know where I'm trying to go to, like, especially when it's the type of crime at this level. I don't I don't think, like, if you ask me, I would give this case to the FBI just because the manner of death and in the way they were found. Like if these details are all correct, and again, you know, everything here is alleged. Um, if everything on the information far as in the way they were found, manner of death and whatnot is correct, that it seems and it looks like it was some kind of sacrifice or whatnot. Me, if I was a state trooper from Indiana or whatnot, whoever took the case or whatnot, I'd be like, I'm watching my hands with this. This is out of my league. And I would request, I would tell my superior, like, we request the FBI to take over this case, because we don't know if it's out of state elements in the middle of this. And this is the type of, again, if they fully aware this is not just a murderer, this is something else, I believe that the state troopers would not be ready for that. I feel that they should have give it to the FBI. What you take on that?
Well, since they don't know if any other elements are involved, the federal authorities would have no jurisdiction to prosecute a state case. So
Got you.
in order for it to come within the view of the federal government, the FBI, it must involve federal law, a violation of federal law. Otherwise, they can't even. It's just like if this is why the FBI cannot come and prosecute you for a state murder.
Got you.
They don't
Got
have jurisdiction.
Got
I
you.
say, I think this is
Even though if authorities want to pass the ball to them, because
you
I feel that
can't
if
do it.
they can't do it.
It's a thing called jurisdiction.
Got you. Jurisprudence. What you talking about?
Yeah, it's a jurisdiction issue, and it's
Right.
also a thing called subject matter jurisdiction.
Right.
If you don't have jurisdiction, you don't have jurisdiction act. It's just like Chicago police has no authority to come and prosecute somebody for a crime that happened in New York. You don't have jurisdiction. This is why they have extradition. This is why when something happened, they have to extradite you back and try you based on where you committed the crime. So if you committed murder in New York, Texas has no jurisdiction to prosecute you.
Got you. No, I totally understand that, and I appreciate your expertise. Amy Conway has a question for Speak Bank Holding. Is it legal for the police to tamper with body cams, blur out and cut parts out? Is that legal or illegal? I think she's referring to those body cams not being fully. My question to you: if it was any edit, any blur, any cut on whatever body cam that he should be on the evidence pile, right? I believe that, let's say, for the people and for the public, I think they would have blurred and cut, right? But my question to you is that it goes hand in hand with Amy Conway question. If those body cam footages blur and cut, like edit, would that be accepted in court as evidence, as a proper evidence for this type of case?
Well, here's what if I'm understanding you right, and I'm pretty sure I am.
Because he sounds like tampering to me, if you ask me.
Well, here's the deal. First, you would have to prove that it was tampered with. But if you got a body cam on and you weren't it, first you're gonna look to the state. Like if it's not a state law that they have to have body cams, it's a police department policy, then it wouldn't be a violation of the law because they are not the body cams are not mandated by law, so they are not regulated by law. When you see these officers with these body cams, it's either through the city that or the police department, and they have policies. But what does violate the law is if you tamper with the body cams or blur them out and try to come into court and say this is what it shows. Now that would be a violation of law
Because
because
at that point it would show only but sound at that moment. When the blur occurs, it will show editing, and an example, every body cam has a timestamp.
well,
So if it violates the timestamp, and again, my point here that I'm trying to point across is, would it be accepted in court, a body cam that is edit?
yeah, what you have to understand, the court will accept anything if you don't object to it. This what
So
people
it's
don't.
it's up to the defense to actually object to that.
Yes, you must object and state your reasons for it, and allow the judge to say, sustained or overruled. And if the judge sustained it, if the judge is sustained it, it excluded. If the judge overruled you, it's admitted, but you have preserved that for appeal to be attacked on appeal, to whereas the appealing court may see it different. But you have to object and state your legal basis for it. Objection is not enough. An objection in itself preserves nothing.
Big shout out to Glowy. Big shout out to Glowy. Thank you for being here. Very so much appreciated. We are here with Speak Van Holding. You are listening to Jrod on Point. Special guest, Speak Van Holding. We are talking about the Delphi murder case. Richard Allen found guilty. It's been a controversy. It's a lot of. I would like to say that right now is controversial, just because again the information that it was given to the media, and then the information that is being found by like people like you that self-investigate and sleuth yourself in the way you do. A legend in the true crime community, Speak Van Holding, is here with us tonight.
Now, don't get it confused. They got the right guy.
But what you mean, far as they have the right guy? Well, okay, because that could be understood in two-way possibles. Is he's the right guy because he actually did it, but he's no proof to link him to it, or he is guilty because the state needed him to be guilty.
He guilty.
Because if you ask me, it seems from the very beginning of his arrest, you well aware, you actually has playing it very well in that video that we just showed in the very beginning, that which I appreciate you allowing us to share this content to the community. You very well said it, you articulated very well that it seems that this guy, his rights were violated since the very beginning of all. Can you elaborate?
Well, yeah. Once they arrested Richard Allen, he had a right to a speedy preliminary hearing, which would have happened very quickly within within 14 days. Every state's different, but his would have happened very quickly, and he had a right to a bond hearing. So when the whole purpose was to prevent a speedy preliminary hearing, because they didn't want to have to bring certain evidence to the table because he would have walked. And so once they sent him to prison, he had no contact with lawyers. They eventually got him a lawyer. But by this time, they was able to get down there and finesse these confessions or get this damaging evidence that they knew that they had to have the jury hear. But but that's what happened. Without that speedy preliminary hearing, man, to challenge the probable cause, it's a lot of problems that arises, because he could have asked them about the bullet. They could have went into more detail about the bullet, and then they would have had to put that expert on the stand to be cross-examined.
Due to you have a vast experience in court procedures and stuff like that, why we see a high volume of like big major cases that are on the news radar, skipping the speedy trial procedure? What can you elaborate?
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you asked that question. I was actually sitting here thinking about that for the last 2 days. First of all, you got to understand, when you're dealing with a person who needs an attorney, the defendant is not aware. He or she is not in a position to understand the significance of a speedy preliminary hearing. So the attorneys know this, so they just say, the hell with a speedy preliminary hearing. So it benefits the attorney because they get on the case longer, they get more money. Okay, whether you court appointed or whether you pay for it gives you more money. And so the reason why pretty much ever since, your defense attorney is always trying to help the prosecution defeat you. That's one of the reasons. They're colleagues, they're brotherhood. We have to wake up and understand that when you are wholly dependent on your attorney and you're completely ignorant, that is a very, very bad situation to be in. Because once this attorney finesse you into waiving your rights and not asserting your rights, you really don't have a legal recourse unless you can prove that this attorney did something that they shouldn't have did that you didn't agree with. And the preliminary hearing, the speedy trial is where if you took it, you have a 90% chance of beating your case.
So I think that right there answer Amy Conway question with his question for Speak Van Holding. Your experience is better to go for speedy preliminary most of the time, right?
Every time every time when you hear an attorney saying, "Oh, it's not good," that attorney is a lie, because the speedy preliminary hearing is to your advantage. If you don't raise it, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. You always push for a speedy preliminary hearing, because when they delay and they can't find their witnesses and they keep delaying and delaying, even though you are guilty, even though they have all the evidence, but because they violated that right and it caused you some harm, you can beat the case based on that. This is why when you look at the Kohberger case, the prosecution wasn't ready. So why did Ann Taylor waive that speedy preliminary hearing? With all that vast experience, with all this legal training, why would you waive it? As you can see, it made more money for her. I'm never wrong about these things.
Big shout out to Harley Ryder said, I don't think they got the right guy at all. I think they got the fall guy. Big shout out to Harley Ryder. Thank you for being here. Very
Okay.
appreciate it. What's your take on that, brother?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna put it like that. I know they got the right guy. I'm gonna tell you why they got the right guy. See, if Richard Allen was willing to speak with the police concerning being on Mount High Bridge, as he spoke to him earlier, why didn't he take the stand? See, you if you had nothing to do with the killing and you can justify yourself being there, if your statements was what you saying they were, you why not take the stand? He knew he could not take the stand because I guarantee you he's a killer. I called it. And because he refused to take the stand and defend himself, he definitively told a jury that I'm the right guy.
But you see, if you ask me, I totally disagree with that though. Like you know how we are, bro. We speak
Nothing
how we
wrong.
see it. I believe, right? That in this case, let's say even if he confessed, right, in a way that it was approached, right, and also even him not standing, because I think we spoke about this on a phone call, on a conference call. We spoke about that, and I did agree with you with that. Like I did. I remember that I did totally agree with you, because if it was me, right, um I would have found a way with some, I will have enough time to, if I see the let's say the common sense on the evidence, it, it's like, for example, because you could have the evidence that you have against me, right? But if that evidence not connecting me to the crime scene, to the manner of death and whatnot, and you pointing me there, it's just a speculation and a theory, because literally the evidence doesn't point that to none of that. Again, you said it yourself at one point. He got literally exonerated of all charge day 7. You said it yourself.
I did, and I went on to say this here too. He beat the case. Now, once again,
Right, right.
oh,
Can you elaborate, please? Because again, you
okay,
know better than me about this case.
like I tell everybody, when you dealing with juries or a judge, but we're gonna go with the jury. When you're dealing with people that must determine facts from fiction, and you are certain to be innocent, and you don't take that stand, when they bring these see, if you remove the confessions, it would not have been necessary for him to take the stand. Okay, but once they maneuvered him to prison to get the confessions, this was enough to to sway the jury to a guilty verdict. This is why
But you know that it's like you said it yourself. They didn't include it. They didn't include it, all the confessions, just the selected ones, right?
yeah, but that's right. But here's the deal. When you now you got to fight it on appeal, and appeals can take 10 to 15 years. Okay, and
Right,
so
and I think Amy said just said right here in this comment that also they have an emphasis in court that they said that confession was forced by the state. Like I think you mentioned something about that on that video.
okay, once again, if you are saying these confessions are not true and genuine, the only way you have a chance of beating the case and swaying the jury is to take the stand. And this is a strategy that you must do. But if because this is why they needed the confession, because they knew if they went without the confessions, he would have won. And so if he is innocent and he has nothing to hide based on what he's looking at, why not take the stand? Once again, the jury is looking at it as though you was willing to talk to the police then. We looking at your interviews. Get on here and explain to us why we should let you go. That's how
But
that
it's
is.
it seems that I mean, so again, for can you elaborate for us, as for those that don't know what we're talking about? Can you make an emphasis on that day 7 when you imply that he could have got exonerated that day? Because here's my thing, right? Listening to your own words and doing my own analysis around it, like I totally agree with you with that. But then if I agree with you that he literally got exonerated day 7, all that other conversation of him um testifying, anything else is out the window, because day 7 it was over.
Okay, let me explain. Oh, at the point of day 7, the prosecution, none of the state's witness said this is the bridge guy. Their description is directly opposed to him. Basically, their description saying it ain't him. This is why they never asked him, is this him?
Okay.
So so at this point on day 7, he has already won. We already know that these other confessions gonna come out. But this
Mm.
this is what I'm saying. Day 7, he won. Remember, nobody said he was Bridge guy. It's these alleged confessions that's convicted him. This is why I say they needed to get him to prison. See, I know from experience when I was locked up, me and some guards got into it and I hurt them real bad. And this is why I speak from appearance. This is why I speak from experience. And so I had to take the stand. I had to take the stand to beat the case because I knew if the jury did not hear from me, they would just look at me as a common prisoner with the stereotypical role. But when they heard me talk, when they heard me present my case in my evidence, that's when they found me not guilty.
So you realize at that point that the state had put it together in a way that even your own defense team was not making you look right, and you knew in the back of your head, like, listen, if I don't testify, I'm out of there. Like they gonna cook me. So I think you recognize that the state had something put together pretty good, and the defense team that you have at that point, it was really not picking up the pace. Am I correct?
You
Because you
you
decided to testify, and that did help you out big time, right?
yes.
So you
Here's
taking that decision, actually it benefits you better than whatever team defense team that you have. So you took your own decision, and actually was a positive outcome for yourself.
and then when I began to represent myself, the whole jury looked shocked that I could talk.
So
Okay.
you fire your defense team.
No. I represented myself from the beginning. This
Oh,
this is what
so
I'm
you
trying.
didn't have no representation but yourself.
I'm gonna say this again. Once I learned the law, I would never let a attorney go up in a criminal court and represent me ever.
Okay, so let me fix my statement about that. Okay, so now that we get it right, so that means at one point while you're representing yourself, the state was putting a tactic together that you seen that it was beneficial for you to testify and really be on record, putting it together your way.
Let me give you the facts. I was found not guilty of breaking guard's nose in his jaw, and the
Ooh,
I was found not guilty in a disciplinary.
okay.
I was found not guilty in a disciplinary hearing. Then they turned around and used the same set of facts to file criminal charges. But I already had filed grievances, and they say that you was not found guilty. The evidence showed that you were not guilty. But see, they didn't know that I still had these grievances. The prosecution didn't know I beat the disciplinary hearing. They turned around and had the guard lie in everything. And so what I did, I sit back and let them present the case. And then the judge said, would you like to testify? I say, absolutely. And so when I began to speak, the jury, they was shocked because remember, they make us think that we animals, we all up in there raping and killing people. But when these people heard me talk, I could see a difference. I already knew the minute I began to talk, I won the case. Because if they don't hear from you, the only thing that they know is the stereotypical concept that they have in their mind that the prosecutor told them uh, at the beginning of the trial and what they see. And you got to realize I'm in a jumpsuit. I'm in a jumpsuit with handcuffs on with a box. Okay. So they looking at me as an animal, and I'm in a white racist town. I'm black. So I know I got too many things working against me. So the best thing I could do is let them know that I got a mind. And this is why I say that they did not let Richard Allen take that stand because they knew he was guilty. Your defense will never let you take that stand when they know you're guilty. I speak from experience, man. And this is why I say they got the right guy.
But what about let me play devil's advocate. You know me, man. I like to play devil's
I
advocate.
love it.
You
I
know what
love
I'm saying? Yeah. How about if and I'm gonna bring up what we was talking about in the conference call. What about if his lawyer understood, like, yeah, this man cannot articulate this, and let's say not for the sake of like he did it, but for the sake of like this man would not know how to put it together. Because again, we cannot expect everyone to be as fast. We cannot expect everyone to be in the same time or whatnot. Some people are slower. Some people, is things that could complicate, let's say, a testimony in court. Let's say he just just go in the goofy side of things. He's testifying and starts salivating and shit like, nah, nah, nah. Like it's over, bro. It's like game out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Let me
it's like he's talking normal and out of nowhere the pill kicking. He's like, nah, nah, nah.
let me ask you a question. Let me put it this way. If you invited me to your home, it's just me and you there. You put $2,000 on a coffee table. You leave it in front of me. You go into the kitchen.
I done it before, bro. I
Hold up,
done it
hold up,
before
hold
back
up,
in the day. You know
hold
what I'm
up,
saying?
hold,
And
hold
in the
up.
street type of shit.
And you come back and it's gone. You didn't see me take it. So how can you accuse me of taking it?
Right, right, right.
But we know from the circumstances of only two people being there that I could only take it. And this is what happened with the Richard Allen case. Regardless if nothing connected him, Richard Allen put himself there. He put himself there.
And you know what though? Now that you say that, sorry to interrupt you. I want to make sure I highlight. This is why I have that comment highlighted right there. Say, big shout out to Harley Ryder. It says, I bet you Richard Allen regrets the day he picked up that phone and called the police and said he was there. He
Yeah.
couldn't take the stand because he was screwed up from 13 months of solitary. And you know what though? 13 months of bro, in the hole.
Listen to me. Let's
And
not
we did talk about this, bro. Like it's not the same thing a jail solitary than a prison solitary, bro.
man, they had this dude in solitary. They had
Oh
this
my, I'm sorry. It's not funny. I'm sorry for laughing,
prison.
bro.
They had his ass naked in a gown, looking, and they had it cold up in there. And
Throwing water, cold water at him and
yeah,
shit.
they was torturing him. But let's not forget one thing. Richard Allen had a phone that they didn't recover. All but one phone. See, All this shows one thing. Richard Allen had a particular phone. Yes, I do believe that he was working with somebody, but see, he had a phone. Remember that all the other he got all. Now, let's be clear. It's not a crime to have a bunch of phones, but why would he? Let's look at this guy. Why would his CVS working but have all these phones? What are you doing with all these phones?
Bro, now that you mentioned the CVS stuff, bro, do you remember we was I like to you see, oh my God, listen, I, because you know when we work, like when we work these cases, bro, we really go to different angles, and I appreciate you teaching me a lot. It's an honor for me to learn a lot from you. Um, bro, this is that guy on CVS, bro. I'm sorry, bro.
Listen.
J-Rod, you a piece of shit. J-Rod, why you doing it now? Fuckery, yeah. Bro, bro. This is the guy in CVS that everybody see his face all the time. This is a itty bitty town, bro.
Yeah.
Like, can we, bro? Like, hold on. I'm not trying to be all that ghetto and shit, cause you know me. I sometimes the hood cannot get out of me, type of shit. Yeah, it's some bullshit, right? Especially, yeah, right. Cause if, bro, coming from some places in Earth, bro, it's like some shit that you hear. It's like, bro, this shit don't make no sense. Like they really make this shit up for Hollywood, bro. Like it's some other shit, right? But this is the CVS guy, bro. You know that you have a CVS around your area. I had one right here, bro. You know that CVS guy, bro. That is the
Yeah.
one that everybody knows, and it's just from there, and born and raised there, and he knows, and you know his family and shit like
Remember.
that. It's like he's not gonna do this shit.
And check this out. Amy, Amy
Oh my, let me
Conway,
stop. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Amy Conway say, "What the hell happened to law and justice? Law and justice is a concept,
Thank you for
and
answering, brother.
it's a concept because you got to realize you got some laws that benefit others and disadvantage others. It's just like asking where's law and justice when we had the Jim Crow laws. See what's we gotta look at it like this. Alex Baldwin, and can't remember the other guy name, but Richard Allen's defense attorney say he's innocent. Well, why not put him on the stand, people? See, at some point, you can sit back and act like I said when you exercise your rights, but when they looking at videos of you giving interviews with the police, they want you to get on the stand and prove to them that there is a reasonable doubt. He didn't do that because they would have asked him about some things that he couldn't answer. Remember, if this was you, would you take the stand if you was innocent? Of course you would,
Bro, if it was me, none of this shit
because
makes
you're not
sense,
worried
bro.
about anything.
If it was
But it's
me, none of
something
this
that
shit
they
makes sense,
knew would
bro.
come up that they're not gonna let the public know. This is why he couldn't take the stand.
You know what I mean? Like when I mean, and sorry
Listen,
to,
I
and then sorry,
understand the
I
evidence
was trying
didn't
to cut
show it.
you off, bro.
Uh,
But
what
can you hear me?
evidence did show is he put himself there. He put himself in those same clothes as Bridge guy. Okay, and then there's no way getting around that. So this is why I say that the evidence that the prosecution, let me put it in a nutshell, the evidence that the prosecution offered didn't show, but Richard Allen gave evidence against himself. That's what got him convicted.
Right.
That's why
No,
he won't get. He is convicted, and I guarantee you, he's the right guy.
yeah,
I
but
don't doubt it
here's
one
what
second.
I'm saying. You know what I
He
mean?
put himself in the same clothes. How do you do that?
But you know what it means that
Ain't
it
no
don't make
coming back
no
from that
sense.
shit.
You know what I'm saying? Because if we're gonna go to
What's the
the, let's make it
likelihood
make sense.
of Richard Allen having the same clothes as as the bridge guy and not being the bridge guy? It's simple deduction. Once you realize that he put himself there, he drunk 2 beers. Now that come from him. I do believe he drunk 2 beers. He tried to get his nuts up,
Bro, but what about
and
the evidence, bro? Because let's say this is
they got the right.
that's all a theory, bro. Like far as the evidence goes, because this is what at the point of let's make it make sense.
They gonna
We
come up with
theorizing outside of what the evidence. I would like to stick to the evidence. I would like to
Oh,
stick to
oh,
what they use
did you hear
to
me wrong?
actually convict him. You know what I'm saying? Because that conviction means a lot, bro. Like this guy is cooked to the point that even you remember we was talking about like a retrial is not gonna work.
They did the actual evidence that they used was his own words in the circumstances. He put himself there. That's why the jury asked for the interviews in the Bridge Guy video. They was already convinced. They wanted to see looks, man. If you willing to talk to the police before you charge, then you said you had nothing to hide. Then what you got to hide now? Your life on the
Right,
line. Your life
right.
is on the line now. So what you got to hide now?
How you feel? How you feel about retrial possibility? What's your take on that, though? Like, I know that he will need like a proper defense team that will actually pick up the case and represent him proper. Because if you ask me, he don't have no type of good representation as we speak. Because obviously he was found guilty, so that defense team at that point failed. So if anyone else pick up the case, someone relevant that is a good defense team or whatnot, if you ask me, he don't have no chance. And why? Because I don't think no one is gonna pick up that case, even for clout. They're gonna try to close the case. But if you ask me, a retrial could be successful if he got the proper representation. What's you take on that?
No, retrial not. He can forget a retrial. But if he has errors that's raised in a court of appeals feel like that it affected the outcome, the court would order a new trial. But
Okay.
what and if he and here's the thing what a lot of people don't really understand. If your case get overturned on appeal, where they didn't give you a bond, they have to give you a bond. You understand that? So it's in but the bottom line is we don't at this point we don't know any errors that that they intend to raise on appeal that would have merit.
Yeah, you was talking about that they needed to preserve if it was any type of errors or mistake or whatnot,
Yeah.
or malicious prosecution or whatnot, it needed to be preserved for a further record, if any further
Yeah,
future retrial type of shit. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that though.
if they had a problem with the judge not letting them offer the third party ordinance could have done it and they didn't object and preserve it,
Yeah.
it cannot be raised on appeal.
Even in the way you remember the way Gold was acting when she kicked their defense team out type of shit, like even that right there, like how can they didn't utilize that situation proper, like to even to get her off the share.
Well, they could have found a recusal motion. They didn't because you got to understand they was trying to play nice at this point.
Right.
See, I'm telling you, Alex Ball, his defense attorneys helped the prosecution convict him.
And that shit crazy, bro. That they, because you see, she was especially appointed for it, right?
Well, they just got special judges to help out the dockets, you know. And what you got to understand, these judges, they got judicial biasness. When you come on, they gonna already think you guilty, and they already looking at you some type of way. But I do, for some reason, see, this is why I say Richard Allen, he had an extra phone, they and that's gone, but he got all the other phones. People, the circumstantial evidence is there.
Well, he pimping and hustling with all these phones and shit. I got three
Well,
phones.
well,
You know
think
what I'm
about it.
saying? Like
He said
what?
he was there looking at his stock ticker. He don't have any stock. He work at CVS.
You know what though? I have this comment right here. It say, and how did they get a confession? Solitary and Haldo, and we're holding we're holding him from his wife, from him or whatnot. So you see, going with that comment, my question to you is, far as these confessions, because it's very very controversial far as these confessions, like dating added everything. My question to you is, what's the due process in this situation? Should they have all his confessions available, and the timing and process, like what? Because they gotta have a timing of like what led to what, right?
Well, here's the deal. It's on his defense to ask for all that evidence through discovery. Okay, his defense should have had it anyway, and they could have presented. It's not whether the prosecutor gonna say, "Oh, we can't use this." If he made statements inconsistent with his confessions, that's what we call exculpatory. It's called mitigating, exculpatory. His defense, I'm gonna just put it like this: Richard Allen whole defense team um, is a piece of you know what. Okay, they jumped off the case at first because they didn't want to be shamed. You got to be weak and you got to be a coward to jump off the case because you don't want to be publicly shamed. That's when I knew he had a watered down defense, and that's just the way that is.
We have Amy Conway here, and she asked, I think we were just talking about this. Hopefully, she was listening. Does Mr. Allen has any case for appeal in your opinion? I would like to answer that after you answer that.
Uh, I'm not sure because I don't know what they objected to and what they preserved at the trial to appeal. Normally, after of a trial like this, the defense would file a motion for a new trial and give the reasons. Like they would say, motion for new trial, not able to put on the third party defense of the oldness theory, motion for new trial, denial of speedy trial, denial of an attorney during denial of a speedy preliminary hearing, etc. If they don't raise these, uh, it's something strange about the defense because these is what you normally want to raise to be able to attack on appeal. And
I,
you can raise
okay.
other things in a excuse me, you can raise other issues, motion for new trial, the judge denied this, the judge denied this, and you give the trial court an opportunity to correct it. The appeal court, you cannot raise that on appeal, on direct appeal, but you can raise it on a writ of habeas corpus. But because the appeal is based on the record of the court, if it's not presented and raised and preserved in a court, the appealing court has no jurisdiction to address it.
I want to add to that, and also ask you. Let's say, Mr. Speakman Holding. Let's say, for example, more devil's advocate. Um, if they did preserve all the whole record, um, because again, we articulating far as if they didn't preserve like whatever mistakes and misbehaviors and whatnot that the prosecution in this case, let's say they they preserve everything. um, Due to what we know on this day to day, do you see any type of
If they
upcoming
put, if
retrial that it has any type of chance?
let me put it like, if they preserve the issue that Richard Allen was denied an attorney at a critical stage of the proceedings.
Right, because I like to give the people a little bit of hope. Let's say for those people that are at the in the situation that don't see that this guilty verdict was legit. For those
Uh,
people, can we elaborate on that though? Can we let's say if he's at any real hope again, if he's because you know better than me about this case.
once, once,
Um,
once
what you
again,
think?
yes, if they preserve the issue and raise the issue that Richard Allen was denied counsel at a critical stage of the proceeding, meaning a hearing. He was denied his. See, had he had a speedy preliminary hearing, he wouldn't have went to prison. And because he was denied a speedy preliminary hearing, but because he was denied counsel at that stage of the proceeding, and the state proceeded against him with without counsel to send him to prison, he was denied effective assistance of counsel, or he was denied complete representation. Therefore, when he's sent to prison, he can get all those confessions thrown out. But now,
Mm,
but
got you.
hold on.
No,
Let
I'm
me.
listening. I'm listening, brother.
That is a guaranteed thrown out because the argument would be, had it not been for the deprivation of counsel at the time, he wouldn't have never been sent to prison. He never got to make the argument in his case that he should not be sent to prison for his protection. He did not have the chance to have the courts, the judge and them articulate why y'all saying that it's for my safety. But what people don't understand is this. Let me clarify something. It's not it's not wrong to send Richard Allen to prison. It is wrong to treat him as he's been convicted once you sent him to prison. Do you understand? There is an old Supreme Court case on this. It's called pretrial detainee stuff. You can send somebody to prison, but you cannot treat them as though they've been convicted. Okay?
Yeah, because you could take him to a prison facility, but then you take him to a lower level type of, like, more in the
Yeah.
outside type of thing, like jail type of shit. Yeah, because he's a jail environment within the prisons system. It's a jail environment type of, it's the lower level inmates that are, like, not
But here go where they violated.
population type of shit.
They violated him because they kept him locked up 23 hours a day, I believe. You can't do that. He shouldn't have been locked up like that. He should have had the same rights as if you was in jail to be able to come out pretty much the majority of the day. But here is the crazy part, because he had a see his only recourse to actually get the new trial is what I said. He was denied counsel and therefore he was denied a speedy preliminary hearing. See, had he had a speedy preliminary hearing, he can argue the outcome would have been different. He would have been freed. And that's his only recourse. But see, I don't see where his attorneys are raising that. And this is why I say they're working with the state. The
Do he need new representation?
dude, they railroaded him. And this is why I was waiting to see. I got suspicious of Rosio and Baldwin when they jumped off the case when the judge said, "I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this."
Yeah.
Most your duty is to your client. You don't let nobody bully you. So they jumped off. When they jumped off, I became suspicious. I say something ain't right about that. And then all of a sudden, y'all change y'all mind. No, 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 no. That's why I say they railroaded him with their own counsel. They know he the guy, but they know he would have walked free if they wouldn't have done it the way they did it. So if they preserved intact of see Richard Allen, once you got locked up, you can't have a hearing to move me for my safety without me challenging your conduct. Because once you did this here, you now interfering with my right to a speedy preliminary hearing. That is where the heart of the issue is to get his case overturned for a new trial.
Yeah, because I think me and you, we did agree, Forrest, as like he was not supposed to be taken to prison, and if by any chance the government pulled that off, they needed to still preserve his right to still be in, like, in a jail type of environment and not be
Yes,
treated like as he
yes.
was guilty already.
See, because
Yeah,
what
go
what
ahead.
happened? This he was punished because he was no longer had access to his family. His family should have been able to visit him as though he was in the county jail. Okay, but see,
Right.
once again, I told you they know he had a this. I'm gonna tell you why they sent this dude to prison anyway. I'm gonna go and break this down, man. It wasn't because they feared for his safety. Once they realized he had a psych history, they said we finna send this guy down there and like it's for his safety, and that's what they did. But once again, this is why Benjamin Jenner jumped off the case. Judge Benjamin Jenner was supposed to appoint him an attorney immediately to represent him at the hearing to determine did he object to it. Because then they would have had to articulate why you can't keep me safe, who threatened you, and from there on, that's how they got him.
Bro, you know what it is? The guy found guilty, the evidence, and like Forrest has evidence and the protocol, right? Because I think we both could agree Forrest as that, at least. Forrest as the protocol, the way it was investigated, the evidence. Let's say forget the protocol because they could be very non-professional. They could probably not have the experience at the time or whatnot. Like, say, devil's advocate, let's give benefit of the doubt, whatever is talked about. Um, at the end of the day, the evidence and the manner, the whole process, the due process about it, it was inadequate, right?
What do you rephrase
Far
your
as far as the whole thing, if we're gonna look at it overall, from the very day one all the way to the end, since the guilty sentence, like, can we agree that the whole the whole, not just the investigative body, but the court situation, the whole. Can we say that it was inadequate?
No, we can't say that.
Okay, elaborate, please.
You got to understand that the state has one job is to prosecute you. The state, you got to understand the judge, the prosecution, and a law enforcement are against you. It is up to your defense to protect you. And when your defense is compromised, you won't be protected. Once again, it is a lot of people don't understand that when you violate a right, when your attorney let me tell you something. This is what the Supreme Court of the United States has said over 50 years ago. A deprivation of a constitutional right for any minimum period of time results in an injury. Okay? So if it was me, I would argue that I was deprived of counsel at a hearing and I was denied a speedy preliminary hearing because I was sent to prison where there was no attorneys. But here go how they playing. They trying to play him like he's saying he was gonna hire an attorney. We know this man ain't got no money to hire an attorney. But the judge was supposed to appoint this man an attorney to challenge the transfer. Alex Baldwin, ain't nobody seriously attacking this. This is why I say any appeal that they found is gonna be frivolous.
So it's literally not gonna be successful at all.
I can't see it because your only right to is what I say should be attacked.
Because again, I mean, I totally agree with you though. Because again, in the only way, let's say that he could probably have a chance, if you ask me, like for real, like if you pick up the case, I see the man having a chance. If let's say by any chance, they to approach, let's say if any one of Richard Allen defense team want to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you though?
They can't. They working for the state.
I try to throw the speedball there, you know what I'm saying? See if
They
I,
listen. They working
but
with the
hey,
prosecutor.
I tell you, and the only way that this man has a chance if you pick up the case or someone else that is actually more etiquette, more
It,
in depth with what's going on, or actually with the will to actually force it. You know what I'm saying? Like push the envelope type of shit. Um, I believe that he'll have a chance due to with what we know, at least what you have teach me about the case. In my opinion, he has a chance for retrial and be successful. But again, this defense team won't will not be able to do it. Like if the same defense team that represent him when he got his guilty verdict represent him for a retrial, is not gonna work. It has to be a whole different big balling top guy, lawyer, upcoming big balling lawyer. They want to just make a name or whatnot, pro bono, and just pick the case
it,
up, smack it in the butt. I believe that Richard Allen will be found innocent though. Just because again, the evidence perhaps. Confession is out the door. Because whatever you confessing, the evidence has to show that you, even though if the confession, let's say even if he did it and he's confessing right. But when we go back to the evidence, then the evidence doesn't match what's coming out of your mouth. So that in court right there creates a benefit of the doubt, right?
it's not a benefit of a doubt. It's when you have a jury trial, they hear the evidence.
Right.
The on the jury, the jury is determine what they believe and what they don't believe. And that's just the way that go. They decide what story to believe, what's not. And this is why it's critical that when the jury don't hear you, even though you have a right to remain silent, you have to understand at sometimes you can't remain silent. The jury would need to hear from you. And the jury interpret his refusal to be on the stand and be questioned in front of them as an admission that he's guilty and that what convicted him.
Would
Any
it be? Go ahead.
any lawyer, anybody that went to law school, they should this is what they should be saying. but they not gonna do. I found out lawyers are afraid to really speak. Okay, but they're afraid to speak, man. But he should have took the stand, and they
Would it
was
be
aware. He
would it
should
be
have
the
took.
same judge? Would it be the same judge? And like again, even though if he like let's say he might cook already, but if he was any chance, would it be the same judge?
In regards, same judge in regards to what?
Like a retrial possibility?
Yeah, it could be the same judge.
I mean, but do you think that that'll be best procedure on that? Because if you ask me, it should be a whole new judge though.
Well, it's like this. If you don't, it can be the same judge. The judge has a duty to hear cases unless they have a conflict of interest. And a lot of times it's best that the same judge hear the case because the judge is familiar with the case. And,
Right.
and it can move it right along. But in some circumstances, if the judge made rulings that the appealing court feel like they shouldn't, the judge, once they got it, like if you go on appeal and they reverse it, they would order that a new judge sit if they feel like it. They got a remedy for all that. This is why if you don't preserve it, the appealing court cannot hear it unless it's what you call apparent. It's an error apparent on the face of the record. That's the only time they will address it. But if you don't preserve it, they won't. They only address what they call errors on the face of the record.
So any defense team that will have to show that it's actually is something there to actually to even then to have a hearing to listening to it. So they really have to come up with something real good for them to even listen to it.
Well, everybody has pretty much a right to a first appeal
Right.
after conviction. But you can appeal saying you can appeal anything, but the issue is will it prevail on appeal? You won't have something with merit. And I'm saying I'm not seeing anything there that I mean normally they got 30 days after this conviction in Indiana to file a motion for new trial and put the reasons why. See, it was an irregularity in the proceedings. He wasn't given an attorney to represent him before he was sent to prison. And when he went
Right.
to prison, he was denied of a speedy preliminary hearing. I don't know if they're going to raise this, but they got enough time to raise it. But at this point, he got some errors that could definitely get him a new trial. But I don't know if they're going to raise him.
And you know what though? At the end of the day, I think that we could have like a good closure about it. Because if you ask me though, I think that not just for the content creators, but also for everyone involved, the families and even law enforcement, the whole state, the whole city, the whole town. Like I think that at this point, you know what though, because what I have seen out there is being kind of like a settling. Like I think everyone is catching up to it now. Like some people that still have their doubts out there, and I believe that like myself, like we probably will talk about it if we ever come through. But I feel that even myself, even though if I see the situation was not handled properly, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I don't see the whole case being taken care of in the way that it deserved. Like just in my personal opinion, I think that things would go in a different way if the right people was there to actually investigate and to enforce proper practices and stuff, right? And just because this case is so sad at this point, right? Because if you ask me, both sides, the families, and even the families on both side of the fence, though, is nobody won. If you ask me, is sad for both sides, right? Because I think it is a feeling there of not a fulfilled resolution. I don't know if I'm correct with that though, because again, it's just what I think about it. At least for me, it's not like a fulfilled resolution that I could say like, you know what though, that I could live with that. I mean, I live with that either way because it does. I don't have a dog in this fight. We having a great conversation about it. But as far as the topic though, I feel that it could have like a positive conclusion far as like destiny got fulfilled, and unto further notice, like in court, like if ever anything come across that this guy has even a shot to be retrial, whatnot, I would like to say, correct me if I'm wrong, you could disagree with me if you like, but far as this case goes, I'll put it right, like on the rest in peace status until like anything that will actually caught my attention about it. Because again, bro, like I just wish that the families really have peace in their heart, and even the content creators that they were participant in this case, like I wish that everyone has some kind of resolution and peace in their heart, that even though if they feel that it was unjust and justice would not serve, but at least if they could put it down to rest onto any further resolution, right? What you think about that though?
It's been put to rest. You got a grown man standing trial for the murder of two kids, showing no remorse in trial. A real man, an innocent man, would have cried at times seeing those pictures, hearing the story. But
Right.
but like I said, uh, uh, here you has this man who claimed that he's innocent, but won't take the stand to defend his life. What are you afraid to be asked? They knew if your defense believed you was innocent, then they would have put you on the stand.
Bro, he put himself at the at the area, bro.
He is the killer. I called that. I called a unanimous verdict, and I guaranteed that. And I guarantee the same about your brother Kohberger.
You cook on that though. Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about this one and this one. We're gonna honor the cease and desist, the peace treaty that we have about. Everybody know one of our latest live stream, it was amazing. It was so good. I
And
can't wait to we put the Idaho Farm Bryan Kohberger live stream together though. I know it's gonna be fireworks, and people gonna love it. But can you close it down, like far as how you feel about the case though? Like forget about what I feel. What you think about it though? What type of closure, if any, this case could have?
the closure is gonna be that he is the killer. Whether they raise errors that wants reversal is yet to be seen. And if he's granted a new trial based on errors that the Court of Appeals feel like he should have, he still will be found guilty. Once again, we have to understand some things, people. There are many crimes that directly never link the person to it. Sometimes it just takes for them to confess, and they say, well, you know how they have people on finna, they they got people locked up, and this guy, he confessed to the murders, even though nothing connects him, but he confessed. He told them where the body was, but there was nothing connecting him. But he was able to tell them how and where to find the bodies, but they never found no physical evidence to connect them. And this is one of these cases. See, don't always look for forensics evidence and direct evidence to convict somebody. The fact that he played, what is the likelihood? See, if you ask yourself basic questions, what is the likelihood that Richard Allen is innocent but had the very same clothes on as the bridge guy? What is the likelihood is him saying he watching his stock ticker? He ain't
Did he
got,
confess that that was him at the bridge?
yeah, yeah, he said he was there. He told him I was there.
No,
I
but
had
I'm saying, like, did he say like that guy in that video is me?
that.
You feel me, bro? Cause man, you see, I gotta hit you over the head with that though. Cause like, bro, listen, man, I know you have your victory lap, but at the same time, it's like, bro,
Hey, quit. Listen,
it's some bullshit, right?
listen, man, you fucking with me. Stop that shit, Jack. He said it's just like this here, Jrod. You say, Van, Van Holen, somebody came in my house. They had
Bro,
on a
you're
black
crazy.
hat and a black jacket. I said, I had the same thing on too. I was here about that time too. Hey, come on,
He,
man.
he limping and shit. Like,
Hey,
oh my
he was
god,
in a black truck.
bro.
Oh, I got a black truck too. Now, what you gonna go to thinking?
Bro, if he would have shut his mouth up, right? You see, I think God worked through him, right? You see, I think God worked through him. God told him,
Many
listen,
times,
you're gonna
many
you're gonna
times.
try to help the case. you're gonna be like, hey, I was there.
Anytime,
I was there. I could tell you something. And they were
anytime,
like, yeah, we got him. Dumbass.
anytime you take and you want to kill and rape two little girls, you're a dummy and you're gonna be found out and you should be found.
Man, I'll tell you what, bro. If he did that shit, he deserved to get cooked well
If
done type of
if
shit. You feel
if
me though?
if he done it,
Yeah,
I
yeah. Like, because
he,
again, like I wasn't there. I don't know, but if he did it and he's like that, bro, he deserved to get cooked.
well, he already just to answer your question, he said he did it.
Come on, man. But anyway, that shit
Think,
debatable.
no. Think about this, man. He can confess, then he'll say, "I did this too," knowing he didn't
You
do it.
think that you think that he said like, "Hey, I did it, get me out." He's
No,
like, "Okay, I confess, get me out now."
no.
Like he was nah,
Here go
you
what
know
he
what I'm
did.
saying? Like,
Here go what he did. He confessed, but he also confessed of some other stuff that he didn't do, and this was all designed to make it look like he was out of his right. He wasn't in his right frame of mind. I'm gonna tell you like this: like with any strong man, okay, if you innocent, I don't care what they do to you down there. You're not gonna break me. But I'm finna tell you, Richard Allen's finna come up dead. He gonna kill himself, or they gonna kill him. But I do. They gonna say he committed suicide. So I expect him to be dead in the next 30 days.
you know what though? We hopefully no one dies. You know, no
I'm just
more
I'm
life
just
gets claimed. You feel me? Like
I'm gonna
on
tell
the
you like
positive side of things, but man, I feel you on that though, cause they're gonna take care of him like shit in there, bro.
no,
Like he gonna be begging for God type of shit.
it
You
ain't
know what I mean? Like it's like he gonna get his come to Jesus. Like even though if he was innocent, bro, it's like damn, like he
no,
gonna feel it though.
ain't nobody gonna kill him. He gonna kill himself.
You think so?
I know, so it's determined. It's
Yes,
already
I
been
know. So you always say that shit.
okay. I guarantee you, he gonna kill himself.
He's,
All right,
he's done. He out of there. He out of
all
there,
right.
bro.
He's dead.
Ah, damn, bro. That's fucked up though. It is. And you know what though? We wish everyone to actually stay positive in the whole situation because at the end of the day though, what I mean? We having conversations about it and it's like, damn, like you see, like I would have never put myself even close to none of that type of shit. You feel me? So it's like when we listen to cases like this about people that even got themselves close to these type of cases, bro, it's like, man, like at the end of the day, yeah, fuck you, you did it. You know what I mean? Like you put yourself there. You're right. So it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, fuck it, cook him. You know what I mean? Because he was a very, very awful. It was a very terrible, terrible death. It was no reason for that. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on,
So at the end of the day, the man
hold
is
on. Did you hear?
guilty of it. Yeah, fucking cook him.
I don't think you heard me. I shut my computer by accident.
No, yeah, go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
No, I said I was tripping. I'm up here talking. I shut the computer and realized I was still on the computer and I didn't hear nothing. Uh, what I'm telling you is this guy is finna kill himself. And if it was me in his shoes and I was innocent, I'm gonna take the stand. I'm gonna look at his people. I'm gonna be crying about the horrific scene that I see in front of me, but I can't cry when I done did it. See, he throughout the trial he showed a coldness that the jury picked up on. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The prosecution didn't have to prove the case. They was watching him. Anytime you have a jury trial, this is what people don't understand and a lot of lawyers don't tell people. The jury is the judge of the facts. So you better be in a position to convince them or you're gonna be convicted. And that's what happened to him.
Yeah, I think he was cooking day one, bro. He was
Yeah.
cooked. You know what I mean? And talking about the Kohberger case before we close and finish this one though, let's teach him, let's teach the community we are upcoming conversation on the Idaho folk case. We hopefully we could schedule at some point in the future upcoming new documents. You remember when I told you Frank hearing was coming? Because you can't you know what I'm saying, like you got a victory lap today, let me get my victory lap in the Kohberger case. Do you remember we was talking on the conference call and I was like, bro, I hear everything that you saying, bro, but the Frank hearing must occur. It was like, fuck the Frank hearing. He did it. I remember that day. It was like, and again,
Well,
Albert
only
died.
thing the Frank hearing is to see if they lied about something in their affidavits or something,
Right,
etc.
right.
Or
No, I
if
wanted to talk to you about that though, because actually you was telling me some real good stuff about the Frank hearings. So you actually know about it, and can you before we close, can you hit me up with over the head with some of that good stuff?
let me put it like, okay, you know how when you having a remember you can challenge a search or arrest warrant at any time, the validity, and this is why a lot of times the lawyers you ask me why they don't push for a speedy preliminary hearing in a trial. It's because they know the prosecution done lied and the police lied. They don't want to expose them. They just rather go through the process because once you got to understand once you start exposing that they lying that attorney opens up the way for you to get civil damages and go free on a criminal
We
charge.
we have talked about this, and I think we both agree with that though. So you literally tell you just, and I'm glad that we just had this recording, right? It's live right now. People's watching, 21 people watching. My question to you is, brother, would you think that it happened? What did they lie, or did they have something in concrete to move forward with it? What's your take on the Bryan Kohberger situation? Forrest's the Warrens, and would did they lie,
I'm pretty
or they had some?
now they lied, man. This what I'm telling you. They lied to get the arrest warrant. They lied to get this. And this is why this is why Ann Taylor didn't want a speedy preliminary hearing. You look at how much money she done made. This is why she did. She knew if she had that speedy preliminary hearing, she wouldn't have got none of this money like this. They would have let him go and they would have had to get him later. And by that time it would have been another attorney. And so you gotta look at it, man. All the is yeah, they lied. We just don't know what they lied about.
Because you see that I think I think it something that is very very key, and then I'm just gonna browse over it now. Not gonna take 2 seconds. The most important thing in this Idaho Bryan Kohberger case is how you got to the what gave you the conclusions of to get Bryan Kohberger to Pennsylvania. That's it. What you gave the court to get the arrest warrant to go out of state and get this man. What you had at that moment. Because forget about whatever they did about the secret grand indictment. That's farther in the past at that moment. But what was, you remember we spoke about this, like they had this guy a whole month after an interview that actually the interview disappeared, conveniently disappeared, and it was confirmed that they literally Moscow PD in combination with Pullman, they sat down and spoke with Bryan Kohberger. That interview apparently disappeared. So a month after that interview, you cannot tell me that this man did not tell you, hey, I'm going on vacation to back to Pennsylvania. I'm going back home. These men definitely, due to that the cops talked to him about this type of such a case, I believe that he told them, hey, I'm gonna go on vacation. So if the cop did not stop Kohberger and told him, like, hey, you are being looked at about this case, I advise you to not leave the state. I advise you to not leave the county. Actually, I advise you to not leave your apartment if you ask me. Forget about your classes and shit. House arrest until we find out if you are the guy. You feel me? That's just me being me. But in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, the cops had the opportunity to tell Kohberger, we're looking into you. You better not go nowhere.
Well,
So you let the fish go home. So whatever you had, You had it for a whole month. Why when you have a whole month to go to court and find something to get this guy DNA while he's in next door? Now you wait for this guy to leave and make him look like he's being a fugitive of the law, which that's literally the title that they gave him, when this guy at that particular moment, type and time, did not broke the law, nor in Moscow, Idaho, nor in Pullman, Washington. You dig that though?
Uh-huh.
So at the time, at the time of moment that they request whatever they request to have the authority to go and get this guy, fuck the IGG. They did not have nothing.
Well, in regards to, I believe, Amy Conway,
I got goosebumps saying that, bro.
let me see.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, brother.
Okay, no, I'm just no. This I was just Amy Conway. I guess she was commenting on this. I'm just gonna read it.
Yeah, it's right there.
The defense team for Bryan Kohberger has filed an uncommon motion with the court, one that could unpin this case before it goes to trial. Bryan Kohberger is accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students 2 years ago in November 2022. In a surprise development, Kohberger's defense team has filed a Franks motion. CBS 2's legal resource Ryan Black with attorneys of Idaho tell us that the Franks motion is when the defense asserts that a police officer has either lied or knowingly withheld information to a judge in order to obtain a warrant.
Mm.
So,
And you remember that guy that requested it that is the same guy that he was on that Brady list?
yes,
Yeah.
but now, so at this point, it's on the defense to present the evidence of whatever
They
they
must have something though. They have to, because if they
yeah.
don't, they're gonna look stupid.
Okay, and they say along with the filing of the Franks motion, the defense has filed 12 motions to suppress specific pieces of evidence in the case, all stemming from the Franks motion, in which they claim police officer lied or knowingly withheld key pieces of information to obtain a warrant that led to the gathering of those pieces of evidence in the first place.
Mm.
So I understand what they're doing here. They want to suppress the information from Kohberger's Amazon, Apple, and Google and cell phone accounts, his cell phone data, the search warrant for his vehicle and apartment, and the arrest warrant itself. Kohberger's defense team has filed a request for Franks in which the states that proffered and exhibits have been delivered to the court and prosecutors are under seal. Well, okay, let me put it like this here. They basically saying that at some point, they saying that the officer lied to the judge to get the search warrant, and that lying to them to get the search warrant led to certain evidence which they want to call poisonous fruit of the tree to be excluded. And if they are successful, it removes that evidence. But I'm gonna tell you just like this here, because the damage is done, it ain't gonna happen.
No, because remember, they already have the motion to dismiss the grand jury, and with all the SIRE information and whatnot. Again, Forrest asked the only thing that they could have used to even have like a comeback on the secret grand indictment, it was the cast, the cell phone cast. It
Yeah,
was
but
no witness. It was no like anyone they could say like, yeah, we seen him there. That literally the only thing that they used, because again, remember they couldn't even use the IGG, because if they did use the IGG, this case is dismissed.
the
If
bottom,
they even presented the IGG on the secret grand indictment due to that you're not going to use it on trial, and you knew you was not about to use it on trial, you used it to arrest the guy. And you can't even present in the superior guy indictment. That's why when the guy, the detective, they make the cast, because remember, it was not a FBI detective, it was a Moscow PD detective utilizing the FBI technique to put together a cast result to present it to the grand superior, to the superior secret grand indictment procedures.
well, here's the deal. We don't know.
And no, but hold on. After he finished his schematic, everything that how he got to those conclusions, he deleted everything. And he knew. They knew, because come on, a proper procedure. They knew that they needed that information to be given to Aunt Taylor at some point.
I know,
But you see, because they needed to prove how you got to those conclusions for the secret grand indictment.
and I'm
So
saying,
now that we don't have that, now we have to recreate. And on the recreation with the data that is available, allegedly, again, I want to say allegedly, yeah, okay. It doesn't even show Kohberger crossing state lines.
once
Like
again,
for what is being said, listen, take it with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not saying this, I'm talking about this is what is out there. It seems that the Cyray thingy that he do, it shows that Kohberger didn't even cross the state line. Like it's no proof, literally no cameras, no nothing that he crossed state lines.
I
So
agree.
you know what I'm saying? So that means that if you ask me, it's gonna be included that the secret grand indictment was built out of nothing because the evidence to get to the conclusion got deleted.
But here's another thing: they filed a Frank's motion, and they got it under seal. You see, that's where the problem is. Those motions should not be sealed from the public.
Right. And I agree with you on that though. They need to put that stuff
Well,
out.
here's the deal. When they seal and see, you can't seal. See, the prosecution in the defense, they're agreeing to seal these motions, but you can't seal these motions. This man has a right to a public trial, and when you hail these motions, it's like you, everything y'all doing now is the appearance that you're hiding something. The defense and the prosecution, and this violates the public interest in the trust of the courts. Remember, I said if he would have went to the preliminary hearing, he would have walked.
Yeah,
And,
you did though. You did, and
and
I totally agree with you. I don't know why people is skipping that preliminary, bro.
dude, that's where a lot of times that if you don't go free, you set it up to go free going to trial, man. And
Right.
even if they dismiss the case, it's no statute of limitation of murder. They can refile it and get new evidence. This is why she's trying, but he's cooked, man. We can put a fork in there and get some salt and pepper on that too.
No, just say that. Yeah, you see, um, listen, this doesn't have nothing to do with whatever we got on skin. Um, but on reality, though, if you ask me, this Frank hearing is gonna be very interesting to look at. Um, hopefully, whatever is going on in this case at some point comes to the light, because it has become kind of like a true crime mystery by now.
I do
You know what I
believe.
mean? In the way things are being handled and on the secrecy type of level, it just create mystery of it.
Hold on. I know Supreme Court never read AT motion about it. Gee, they just denied what the.
Yeah, they still requesting. I heard that they still requesting discovery and stuff. So they violated also the deadline.
Well, you gotta understand. I did a video about that too. When you waive a speedy trial and they can do that. See, this would see if you waive your speedy trial, you can't complain about the prosecution doing this. This. Ann Taylor did all this to make money, man. Everything she doing is just to make money. This dude, you can. I did a video. Once you
Yeah,
waive it and once you agree with it, you can't later complain about it. This is why they're not hearing it. This is why I tell people never waive your rights. They there to protect you.
you see though. Before we go, we're about to hit the second hour. He said BK wanted them to unseal for public. My question to you is, Mr. Speakman Holden, I appreciate the time that you're spending with us today, and it's an honor for me to be here with you, though. Um, the advice at Layton County of sealing came from Forest prosecution in court. They and Taylor and Brian Kohberger went with it, went with the play. They sealed everything. but then now they want everything to get open up. My question to you is there any chance for the defense team to flex their muscle in court to get the gag order out the way so we go all in the community have more clarity? Even the families, if you ask me, this is a topic that is very important for the families of the victims. What's your feeling, sir?
A gag order is different from the records in the court. A gag order is just saying, "Hey, don't y'all be going out there talking
Not
about."
dissemination, yeah.
Yeah, but the documents itself. See, they filing these documents and they trying to keep them sealed. But here's the problem: you're not gonna be able to keep when you seal documents. It have to be a compelling reason, and it's got to be there, and it's not there. What they're trying to do is protect the public from the corruption that the police is doing in order to not sway public opinion toward Bryan Kohberger in favor of Bryan Kohberger.
And you know what, though? This is a beautiful way to close it, brother, with some knowledge coming from you. Because again, I want to honor and I want to let all the viewers know because we got 22 people watching. We got Amy Conway in the chat. Thank you so much. Very so much appreciated. Before we close, we have to honor a legend of true crime, a very elite in the true crime community. Speak Bang Holding, we congratulations and we thank you for everything that you do for the true crime community, especially for me, allowing me to learn and you taking me under your wing for me to actually learn. And even in content, you have like teaching me a lot how to do things and stuff like that. I want to give you a round of applause and appreciation and a thank you for collaborating and be such a great guy and a friend to me. So I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Amy Conway been speaking German all night.
No, I tell you, Amy Khan would be having total control of the chat.
Now,
Very,
now,
very
now, I'm
positive,
saying,
though.
I'm saying she's speaking German because sometimes when she write, I know what she's saying, but I
No,
guess,
no, yeah. Listen, is she's typed so fast to get
yeah,
the point
I know.
across. You know what I mean? But we know we get what she's saying, though.
Yeah, yeah,
And big
yeah.
shout out to Amy Conway. Look at she said, thank you. Thank you. I love it. Me speak Van
Thank you.
Holding. She love your content. She appreciates so much when you come to the show. And it's an honor for us to have you here with us today, bro. And for that and more, thank you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you too, Amy. Thank you too, man.
All right. So I think we could close. Anything that you want to tell the community before we close? I think it's the live stream of the Idaho folk coming, right? What else is coming for your channel?
Oh man, I'm gonna just go in on what I believe what actually happened in Richard Allen case. I'm gonna go in what I believe he did to the kids, whether forensic sure or not. A lot of times, forensics and the police don't want to really traumatize the family by saying, yeah, this and this and this happened. And a lot of times they don't want to say this and happen because they on the cool. They don't want to try to incite nobody to hurt Richard Allen. But truth is truth. Like I say, you killed two kids. You just did go out there just to kill them. You had intent. Hey, and like I tell you, if you could touch somebody the wrong way, it's gonna be deemed sexual in nature and it's a crime. So,
In
but
addi-
I'm gonna
in,
go in
ad-
on that.
in addition, do you are you bringing any upcoming video of the Texas case that you was working on? Like, because again, we haven't had an update for a
Well,
minute. Is there
let
anything coming?
yeah, let me tell you something about that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Okay,
No,
today
this is your show, bro. You stay here as long as you want. You good, bro. Shit, I got all night.
today she had an announcement. I don't think they pulled it out. And on the October the 31st or somewhere around that time, she had another announcement. At this point, they trying to get around taking her to trial, jury trial, because they already know what I told them they can't win. They need
Mm.
they need a plea deal. They trying to get her to take. She's been locked up going on 4 years and haven't had a trial yet.
I'll tell you what, I can't
Hold,
wait for
hold up,
the
hold up.
video though.
Let me finish. So her attorney, Danielle Uher, jumped off the case, telling the judge she wanted to get off the case because I threatened to kill her. All right. She
Yeah, I
told
remember that. Yeah, go ahead.
okay, so the judge let her get off the case. But here's the problem. If I threatened to kill you, why you ain't brought charges against me and had me arrested?
Right.
Now,
Right.
and here's another thing. She got this new attorney, but this attorney just already got caught a while back soliciting prostitution. You hear me? Damn. So at this point, they trying to get her to take a plea so she can't sue them, and so they won't be exposed. The judge and all of them, they don't want no trial. So if you don't want a trial, why don't you let her go?
And you know what though? I think they know that they cannot win though.
They can't
Like,
win and they won't win. That's what
mm,
they're upset about because they don't violate it. Listen, they don't violate her right to a speedy trial. It's what you call constructive denial of assistance account. She can't get a fair trial. They can't proceed no more. They know it. They know what I know what I'm talking about. And oh, I was gonna tell you, they did send 3 police into the house. Talking about they had a warrant for my arrest a while back, but they was here to kill me. I already know what that is.
no, listen, man. Hopefully, we're praying for safety and that everything will be good with you, man. Listen, you know how to keep yourself safe. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
you're a legend. You're a cowboy.
this,
You from, you know what I'm saying? Texas is where everything goes, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I need to get a helicopter. Can you help me get an army helicopter?
Listen, man. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being part of this community, man, and thank you for everything that you do for us, bro. And again, hopefully, we could
Oh
schedule that Idaho full live stream pretty
yeah,
soon.
yeah,
What about next week?
that'll be fine.
Next week, all right. I'm gonna set it up for next week though.
All right, I'm gonna say goodbye and goodbye to Amy Conway. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for having me on, Jrod.
Hey, I appreciate you, brother. You know, anytime, man. You my brother from another mother, and I appreciate you everything that you do for us, man. Thank you so much. We round of applause, guys, for Speak by Holding. My guy. That's my brother's Big by Holding. I appreciate you, man. So, guys, as always, your brother from another mother, Jrod Point. Please make sure to love each other. And as always, believe in yourself because I believe in you. If I did it, you could do it too. I ain't nothing special. I believe that you're going to take the best decisions in your life for yourself and for everyone around you. As always, always, your brother. Your favorite brother and your mother's favorite son, the black sheep, Jrod Point. We speak about holding. We appreciate you. Have a good night, everyone. And we're always gonna be here live every weekend. Cause you know when I come live in the week, it's just cause I have to. But you know I always gonna be live during the weekends and catch up with y'all. We love y'all. We appreciate you and have a great, beautiful morning. Yeah, yeah.